Hi, my name is Justin Price, and I'm the creator of the biomechanics method, which provides corrective exercise education for health and fitness professionals. Today I want to talk to you about one of the most common causes of foot pain, which is plantar fasciitis. Plantar fasciitis affects nearly 1 billion people around the world. Now, one of the most common imbalances that people have in their body is overpronation. So overpronation is a collapsing of the foot and ankle towards the midline. And you can see overpronation makes my ankle roll in and all the weight transfer across the foot. So overpronation is a collapsing this way, which helps you actually transfer weight right to left. But when you transfer weight from right to left, you also need to be able to transfer weight forward, because obviously when you go from right to left, your foot is not only on the other side of this, so to the left of your right foot, but it's also forward. So if you spend all your time collapsing too much, all your weight is going across the foot and not enough forward of the foot. Now, if you continually transfer weight across the foot, you can see that the arch of my foot collapses. And one of the most common symptoms of plantar fasciitis is actually pain just forward of the heel, as these tissues or structures tear away from the heel. Now, if I collapse my foot, you can see that the arch collapses and there's a tug or a stress right where these structures meet the heel. And that is because of this collapsing across the foot instead of a transfer of weight evenly forward and across the foot. So what we're going to do is check with Brett to see if he can actually transfer weight forward as well as across the foot. And we're going to do that very easily with a runner's stretch. Do you mind just going against the wall for us? So as Brett puts his foot back to check to see if he can actually go into this, automatically we see that his foot is turned out. And the reason why he's turning his foot out is because his body weight is going forward, and he's saying, what I want to do is be able to come across the inside of my foot. So I already know if I ask Brett to take his leg back and he turns his foot out, he already collapses in too much and doesn't go forward enough. He still doesn't have his foot straight, actually, as much as he thinks it is. There we go. So now he probably feels a big stretch in the calf. Do you feel that? Because now his weight is actually going forward across the front of his foot instead of continually always collapsing across to the midline of his foot. When he is coming across his foot or forward over the foot, he also needs to be flexible enough in the hip. Can you put that foot back out for us? So what typically happens is, as people come across their foot and strain the structures on the inside of their foot, they aren't able to get across their hip either. So everything just goes in and shifts over directly to the other side of the hip. So put the foot straight for us. So in this stretch, we're actually seeing, can he dorsiflex, or can he bring his shin towards his foot with his foot straight, and can his hip be straight and pointing forward? This is what you're going to see a lot of times, is hips turned this way and foot turned out. So let's put that foot straight. Good. And then you're going to ask your clients, where do you feel that stretch the most? Do you feel it in your calf, or do you feel it in your hip? Calf. So now we are checking the structures that enable Brett to transfer his weight straight over his foot and slightly in, instead of completely collapsing across his foot and straining the structures of the foot, leading to plantar fasciitis. So he's told us where he feels tight. We may then do some self-myofascial release to the structures of his lower leg or the back of his calf, and then repeat this exercise so it now becomes a stretch. If he feels tension in his hips, we could do some self-myofascial release exercise to the structure of the front of his hips, his hip flexors, his rectus femoris, which is a muscle that actually allows him to go into hip extension, which is a quad muscle. And we would loosen those, and then we could repeat this stretch or go into a more specific stretch for his hip flexors, which would just be a kneeling hip flexor stretch like this with his arm up to promote hip extension. So coming out of that for a second. So we know that most people collapse in, which is stressing the inside of the foot. If we can get them to come over their foot as well, which means they need to be able to dorsiflex the ankle or bend the ankle and extend the hip correctly, we transfer the stresses evenly over the foot instead of stressing the medial or inside structures, which leads to those symptoms of plantar fasciitis and pain. I hope those assessments and exercises help you, and I look forward to seeing you next time.